co-regulation is about our nervous system reading other people's nervous system and shifting gears together, which we're wired by evolution to do. It's actually much harder, especially to shift out of threat responses in solo space than in a relaxed group environment, unless you can't relax around other people, which is true for lots of people now.
That's so interesting. So you're saying this is something, this co-regulation is something that's really being lost, and that maybe as a byproduct of that, a lot of people feel more comfortable when they're by themselves?
I think that's true. The statistics are that we are losing secure attachment at the rate of 1% per year. That's really fast over the long term. And secure attachment is what allows us to expect that we'll get help and be able to give help when somebody's having a hard time. If when we're having a hard time we think we have to isolate, then we only have solo regulation to rely on. And it's simply not as efficient as co-regulation, especially for relational trauma. If there's shame attached to it, shame gets laden in relational space and it clears in relational space. Trauma can be relational or non-relational. Earthquakes, car accidents, war trauma are usually not particularly relational. So even if the initial trauma is not relational, if 6 months later nobody has helped you heal from it, I call that failure of the tribe, and that's relational. What's the matter with me that nobody knows how or is willing to help me with this? How come I'm getting left behind and I'm all freaked out and nobody's in there with me? That's always relational, and there's always shame attached to it. What I've learned that I think is such a huge and important thing for everybody to know is that the quickest way to cut shame is to help people feel like they belong and they matter. And the deepest layer of the nervous system where we get that as infants is we feel like we belong when we share weight. You're holding the baby, bouncing it. You're both feeling the sharing weight. The way we help each other matters by attuning to each other's rhythm. So the exercise, you can do it without touch by rolling up a magazine, but I don't have one handy. If you're willing to take my wrist, and we're just going to lean back. And we want to make enough eye contact that you can tell that you're okay with this. And then just close your eyes and feel yourself and just stretch any way that feels good. And we can take a peek every now and then if we want to, but we don't have to. And we don't have to be quiet, but we can. And the little adjustments that we make help the nervous system say, oh, yeah, we don't have to be careful about this. We can just do what feels good. That allows the body to come more online. And I can feel my body letting go a little.
It's very relaxing. I don't want to let go now.
So I did that because with all this talking, I was getting a little revved up. And I figured it would be good for you too, because co-regulation is good for me, good for you. And I'm checking, because actually if it weren't good for you, my nervous system wouldn't relax the same. It really has to be good for both people for it to happen. But I do feel like we clicked into that place where the key goes into the lock and the tumbler just goes like, oh yeah, we know how to do this. Unfortunately, not everybody knows that in their nervous system. And if you don't know it in your nervous system, you don't know it to use your brain to create the environment where it can happen. So while we're on it, that was the sharing weight. The attuning to rhythm. I'm just going to rock back and forth, left and right. And when an infant is learning to sit up, they're learning to use a particular set of muscles called the erectors, erector spinae. And we're using them as we rock back and forth. And it's developmentally the need stage. So I'm using my erectors, and now I'm closing my eyes and just feeling me. Now I'm opening my eyes and look, you're still there. That feels good. And I can come back to me and feel me. And oh yeah, and I can look at you and you're still there. So this tends to help people. It doesn't work all the time with everybody. Nothing works all the time with everybody. Trauma is idiosyncratic. This takes me to a very primitive part of my nervous system that I see you nodding at the rhythm. You're not rocking with me anymore, but you're nodding. This very reassuring. So those are ways that therapists and friends and family members can do nonverbal attunement that get in pretty deep, pretty fast. And they're some of the basic things that I use to support people in shifting into their social nervous system and out of threat response.